Alright kids, you should be starting this video after you've answered the 2 warm-up questions on the Google Classroom and have logged into your online textbook. You're going to need both of those things today. Alright, your 2 warm-up questions were, how are clothes made? Where do they come from? Be as detailed as possible. Hopefully as you thought about it, you considered first the raw materials. Like your clothes maybe are made from cotton or a synthetic like polyester, or maybe wool from an animal. You can check the tag if you're curious and it'll tell you what the blend is. But clothes have to go from a raw material, then they have to be processed into fabric or spun into fabric, and then they're measured and then cut and shaped into whatever they are going to become, whether it's your t-shirt or your jeans or some other article of clothing. And then it's sewn together and delivered to a store or Amazon, and you order it and it comes to you, or you buy it and take it home. It's a pretty lengthy process. Now, how do you think clothes were made differently 500 years ago? Well, the key difference, the fundamental difference, is the use of machines to do all this stuff now. Before, if you wanted clothes, you had to make it. You might have to shear the sheep yourself, or your family may be growing cotton. Then you have to spin that into cloth, and then one of your family members has to cut that down and sew it together. All of this by hand, very time consuming. We certainly didn't go out and throw our clothes out and buy new clothes for every season like some people who are very financially blessed do now. You tended to keep your clothes, wear them as long as you could, repair them when they were worn in spots rather than throw them out, and just generally try to make them last as long as possible so that you didn't have to go to all that trouble of sewing again. And instead of having, a few different t-shirts, which they didn't really wear t-shirts like we think of t-shirts, you might just have 2 shirts, one to wear that's clean and one that you wear while the other one's being washed. You have a lot less clothing and a lot less clothing options. Now, you need to read Topic 7, Lesson 1, Texts 1 and 2. This is going to introduce you to our big idea for the next 2 or 3 days. And that big idea is the Industrial Revolution and life in the North. We've been giving a lot of our attention to the West. We've been talking about the U.S. expanding and growing and new opportunities out in that part of the country. And now we're turning our attention back to the old United States, the part that was colonized by the British in the 1700s. And so we're still in the 1800s, but now instead of talking about people who are moving west and the challenges they faced there, we're backing up to the Atlantic coast, and we're going to talk about challenges they faced in the north. Now, you've got 2 questions here to answer as you read Topic 7, Lesson 1, Texts 1 and 2. Number 1, what is a benefit of mass production? And 2, how could interchangeable parts be helpful? And to give you kind of a hint or preview of what our main theme is going to be in this first section, we're looking at the North, and the North, like you see here, has a lot of factories. You're going to learn about what they made in factories here, and a little bit about what the working conditions were like, and life in the city. So go ahead and pause this video for a few minutes and read Texts 1 and 2. You can work with your neighbor if you like, and answer those 2 questions, and then we will continue in just a moment. All right, so you've been reading about the Industrial Revolution, and it's a big change that happened over a long period of time. It wasn't like we just woke up one day and America was industrial revolutionized, everything's changed. No, it went on from the late 1700s to probably the mid 1800s. And in fact, you picked up on some hints about it when we talked about the tariffs and the nullification crisis and how important it was to trade with England and France. Well, the Industrial Revolution is the change where goods, stuff you want like clothes, instead of being individually crafted by hand, will be made by machines that are powered by steam or water. They're going to be able to produce many more items, and they're going to be able to make them a lot faster. If you look at these 2 machines we have here in the illustration. We've got a historical reenactor there on the left, spinning what looks to be, I don't know, something in the string. And then on the right, we have a machine that I believe it's called the Spinning Jenny, which you can see is powered by a hand crank here that is turning way more, spinning way more threads than this one loom can do right here. It's really like 1 or 2 strings at a time here, and here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 15 all at once. Well, it's obvious which one's going to be producing more faster. It's this one. The machine has the advantage, and that's the heart of the Industrial Revolution. A lot of thanks for the Industrial Revolution goes to this guy, Samuel Slater, and this is Industrial Revolution Part 2 in your notes. These are all in the Google Classroom. You'll be able to download them if the video is moving too fast for you to write them down, or you don't want to have 2 tabs open or whatever. The Industrial Revolution, as it influenced America, started back in England. And it was so important, Parliament, the British government, made it illegal to take plans out of England on how to make factories and what you needed to build a factory. So anytime someone left England to go overseas, or they knew they were going to move away and maybe set out to one of the colonies, the other colonies in the world, they would search them and look for plans and take them away. Well, Sam Slater had grown up in factories. He knew them so well, he memorized the plans. He didn't need the plans, he was the plan because of his vast experience. So when he gets to New England, the Northeast, in 1789, he starts sharing this information. And so little by little, with his knowledge, America's joining the Industrial Revolution. New factories are going to take off, especially in the North. There will be some in the South, but not nearly as many as there are in the North. Here's a cross-section of one of those early factories. The wall that is between us and the inside of the building has been removed in this illustration. Now let's look through these steps here. You see step 1. Flowing water from a river turned the water wheel. The giant wheel turns smaller gears connected to belts. So this wheel here is being driven by water flowing downhill. 2. These belts moved parts of the machinery in the mill. So this wheel is turning these wheels and belts, and they're turning and powering all of these wheels throughout the factory through a complex system of gears and belts. Step 3, a machine for cleaning the raw cotton was the first step. So people would bring cotton in that's, spoiler, is going to be grown in the South. Cotton would come in and be cleaned by this machine we're going to learn about next week, the cotton gin. And then the raw cotton is going to be spun into thread on a spinning frame. So we're making the thread here on the second floor. Then the thread is moved upstairs to the loom to be woven into cloth. Workers called spoolers watched the looms and made sure that spools of thread were kept straight. And that's what's going on up here. So this building now that's moving much faster than people can do on their own and is powered by water, so a person doesn't have to do it, doesn't have to do all the work. This building is going to allow us to send cotton in and come out with completed fabric. And that is a huge, huge deal. So industrialism is going to allow for mass production, where lots of goods are made quickly, and interchangeable parts, where each item is made identical. On Monday, we're going to discuss these 2 questions. What is a benefit of mass production, and how could interchangeable parts be helpful? They'll be part of your warm-ups. Now, you have a choice at this moment. You can either begin working on our follow-on activity, Lucy Larcom primary source document, and work on that on your own or with a desk mate. Or if you want, there's going to be another video I'm going to make where I will read through Lucy Larcom with you and help you answer the questions, and that'll take care of the rest of our class period.